It begins in, I believe, August of 1824, with his first stop in New York when he lands in New York, and continues for 13 months. And so this is in August, so I guess it's his 12th month. And he's been in Virginia more than once, but this is his first time in Loudoun County.
Okay, so just for the other context, uh, this is what 50 years after. So he was here as a young war hero, came over to help lead the revolution, and then he comes back later to see what grew from that effort.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, James Monroe invites him in 1824. For many reasons, and we're going to dive into those reasons on in our Sunday talk. But he kind of wants to show the advancement of the United States and kind of grow our relationship. And he Lafayette is a war hero. I mean, he will end up being the last living Continental Army general. Um, and his visit starts to bring back all of this feeling and American spirit, that not had it hadn't been lost, but I think a lot of the veterans were starting to be forgotten. Many of these old soldiers, Loudoun County, Fauquier County, all these guys in the Continental Army. Many of them are not receiving pensions until even after this moment, 50 years after the war. Many of them are in their old age. Many of them are poor. But Lafayette's visit brings out this real American spirit. I mean, it's really the first significant anniversary. Not only, it's not only Lafayette's visit, but it is the 50-year anniversary of the start of the American Revolution, 1775. So bringing him out, yeah, 50 years. Bringing him out brings that spirit back, and it kind of fits fits in really well with what we're doing with the 250th. As we're celebrating and commemorating 250 years, they were doing the same thing in 50 years, that first anniversary with Lafayette.
Right.
So,
And it was a
yeah.
time in 1824 that was rather divided, somewhat like we are today with presidential politics in particular. And we had a divided country, and he was hoping that I think, and Ian, you'll probably agree, that by bringing back that patriotism and that sense of unity that had come from winning the American Revolution, that he was going to be able to sort of re-jump or restart the good feeling in America. And as you said, he's Lafayette's the last living general of the revolution. So I think what a lot of us Americans don't realize is that Lafayette was an amazing hero to us. So yeah, we hope we'll regenerate some of that right
What did it mean? Let's go back to Leesburg now. What does it mean for him to be here? Why did the town react this way?
Well, yeah, I mean it's huge because James Monroe is the one who invited him,
Hmm.
and James Monroe lives here in the county. So it's a huge, huge deal. And many of the local veterans of the American Revolution actually served with Lafayette in the war, knew him. Soldiers from Loudoun and Fauquier County who fought in the 3rd Virginia Regiment, the Continental Army, right alongside him. In fact, it's a Fauquier County soldier that rescues Lafayette when he's wounded at Brandywine. So when he comes back, it's just, these veterans are remembering these old times, and he's famous. He's like a superstar. So
reportedly 10,000 people turned out in Leesburg to see him, which I think was somewhere around the population of the county at the time. But
yeah, I
um,
mean, Leesburg, the town, only has a population, what, 1,500, something
maybe
like that.
maybe that much.
Um,
And apparently in all of his tour throughout all of the states, and he did go to every state when he was here in 1824 and 1825, it's estimated that over half of the American population saw Lafayette. So he was just this incredible hero. And we have one
yeah.
account. It's I think it's an article that was in a Loudoun newspaper, probably in the 40s or 50s. I have a segment of that article that um, someone is reminiscing about Lafayette passing by on that last visit going south to Charlottesville, and people knew he was coming, and they gathered together red, white, and blue flowers to throw in his path as he went by. And one old lady apparently missed him, but went out and kissed the ground that he ridden over, because that's how much they love the man.
So, and we have a series of events that we're doing next weekend. So walk me through some of those things.
Sure. So Friday we've got so are you familiar with Historians on Tap? Our kind of local history enthusiasts. We tell stories with drinks and in a very relaxed environment. So Historians on Tap is putting together a talk at Dynasty Brewing. They're in Leesburg. Their Leesburg location, not their. I think they have an Ashburn location. And that's going to be at. I should have this memorized by now, but
I think it's 6:30.
I think it's 6:30. Yeah. And that's on Friday night, and they're going to be telling all kind of stories about Lafayette. So that'll be Joe Rizzo, Anne Marie, Carrie Layson, and Travis Shaw of VPHA. So that's Friday night, and then Saturday from 10 to 4, there's going to be living history and family activities at the Loudoun Museum. So pretty much throughout the day, we'll have Mr. and Mrs. James Monroe at the museum 1 to 3, and that morning 10 to noon we'll have Lafayette himself and a few of his military friends. So we'll have Travis Shaw and myself portraying members of Lafayette's light infantry that fought under him in the Continental Army and soldiers of the 3rd Virginia. And we may have a few other folks with us as well. And then, like I said, throughout the day, those are kind of the two scheduled times. But throughout the day, there's going to be activities for kids and families. There's like a spy activity, and obviously the new Lafayette exhibit at the Loudoun Museum, which we're really trying to highlight. I mean, one of the big reasons we're doing this living history throughout the day is to urge people to go and see the new Lafayette exhibit. And that's during the day. And then in the evening from 6 to 6:30, we will have Lafayette himself. We're going to sort of recreate his toasts, at least a few of them, that were given on the steps of the courthouse. There were 50 toasts, I believe, that were given there at a huge banquet. Yeah. James Monroe is there. The current president, John Quincy Adams, is there. So that was a huge, huge deal. And so we're going to recreate some of that. We'll have the mayor of Leesburg there with us, Chuck Schwam from American Friends of Lafayette, and James Monroe as well. So they'll be giving the toasts, and there'll be some fife and drum music, and that'll be great. And then we'll have a tent set up right nearby for the rest of the evening, where folks can come and see Lafayette and come and talk with the Loudoun 250 committee.
The hundreds of people who show up, thousands of people probably who show up for Taste of Leesburg, will perhaps drink as much as the few people who were toasting Lafayette in 1825.
Almost as much. I don't know. They really went wild. It was a huge party. And then Sunday, the Virginia Piedmont Heritage Area is hosting a panelist discussion at Oatlands. So just down the road at Oatlands, and that will feature Chuck Schwam, who's the I always get this wrong. I believe he's the executive director, not the president of American Friends of Lafayette. So he's going to be our moderator, and then we'll have Mark Schneider, who portrays Lafayette globally. He's going to be our Lafayette on Saturday as well. So he's going to be one of our panelists. Then we'll have Mark Leapson, who is an author and Lafayette historian as well, locally, our local historian. And then we'll have James Monroe as well. So Jay Harrison portraying James Monroe. So we'll have the three of them, and we'll be getting into, the who's, what's, whys of Lafayette's visit and the significance to the country and to Loudoun, and the relationship between James Monroe and Lafayette. So that'll be really fun as well. And then that's at 2 p.m. on Sunday, August 10th at Oatlands.
You can tell there's something for everyone here. I mean, for kids with the activities throughout the day at the Loudoun Museum, There'll be different things for them to make and games for them to play. And then again, for adults, both with the historians on tap and then coming and listening to these speakers. And you really will, when you come, you really will meet General Lafayette, and you really will meet former President, well, as he preferred to be called, Colonel Monroe. Colonel Monroe was most proud of his service in the American Revolution more than anything else. So you'll see Colonel Monroe there as well. We should add, of course, that this couldn't be possible without the American Friends of Lafayette, because they are sponsoring and providing, if you will, Mark Schneider as Lafayette. So that's wonderful. And then, of course, Ian had mentioned our Loudoun, Virginia 250 committee. This is one of our flagship programs, I guess you'd say, certainly for this year, Ian, where we're trying to bring this all together. And it's an effort from many, many heritage-related organizations in the county, as well as working with the town on this. And we couldn't be more pleased, I think, with the partnership we have with the town, because they're already presenting this huge annual Taste of Leesburg, and we're inserting Lafayette in it